All right, hey, so good morning, everybody. Michael Charles here with Remax Liberty. I have Matthew Lord with Finance of America. So let's see, next question. In the perfect world, how long does it take to process a VA loan?
VA loan and processing really isn't much different than any other loan type. And again, I think this is just something that people don't understand out there. They think that the VA loans take longer to do, and they really don't. A loan is a loan. There is a little bit more paperwork with a VA loan, mostly on the veteran side. A couple more requirements on a loan above a conventional loan, but nothing major. But usually, most purchase loans are going to close somewhere in the 21 to 30 day range. If it's a super clean file and it goes through quickly, we can get them closed in about 21 days. If it's maybe a couple little quirks to the file, sometimes it takes a little bit longer in the 25 to 30 days.
Got it. Quirks. When you say quirks, what do you mean by like quirks? Like just
well, let's say that we have a client that maybe he's recently divorced, maybe he pays child support and alimony, maybe he has a prior bankruptcy. Usually it's credit related issues and things that if it's has a little bit more documentation on the file, sometimes additional documentation in the file means the underwriter is going to ask for additional items. So we may get the loan approved and have 4 or 5 conditions that take a little bit longer to obtain, and sometimes that takes a few days to obtain. Maybe the property has solar, we have to do a subordination of the solar. Things like that can slow the process down. If they're just buying the property, they got good credit, they got no issues, no bankruptcies, foreclosures, no credit issues. If it's a super clean file, those can go through pretty quickly.
Okay, you guys got the quirks now. So just some things to think about. Nothing that's going to stop it, right? Unless you got $1 billion in debt and only $2 a month that you're making, but
that's part of the pre-approval. Right. So we'll figure that out on the pre-approval. We'll know in advance.
All right, here we go. Next question. What are some of the documents people can expect to provide to a lender when getting pre-approved?
Okay, so documents on pretty much any loan is going to be the same. Income, assets, and credit is what we're looking at. So from an income standpoint, for a W-2 borrower is going to be pay stubs and W-2s for 2 years. 2 years on the W-2s, 1 month of pay stubs. Bank statements, a couple of months worth of bank statements, that's going to be the asset portion. So if they're, let me backtrack here, I'm sorry. So W-2s is pay stubs and W-2 borrower, start this over here. Put my brain together here. On a W-2 borrower, it's going to be pay stubs and it's going to be W-2s. On a self-employed borrower, we're going to need to see tax returns. Now, self-employed can be a little bit different. You can have some people that just do a sole proprietorship. We just require personal tax returns. If they run some form of a corporation, then business tax returns. And we're usually looking at 2 years of each.
Got it.
Assets, moving forward, will be where the money's going to come from. Now, if they're doing 100% financing, they don't need any down payment, but there's still closing costs in the transaction. So in that case, we're going to be asking for proof of where that money's going to come from. And it can come from a variety of sources. Bank statements, if it's going to come from their own funds, that might be gift funds, it might be coming from a relative, which means we need to see a gift letter signed from the relative, we need to see a bank statement from the relative to know that they have the money. They may pull it from a 401k, they may pull it from stocks or bonds or IRA accounts. Usually just a couple months worth of statements from any of those accounts we're fine. And then the credit portion of the qualifying is really just getting an authorization form from the client so that we can pull their credit and see what's on their credit. Other than that, the documentation on the loan, really, we start with that, and then once we pull the file together, it just depends upon the individual client. So again, we may get the application over, and then we find out once we get the application that, oh, they're recently divorced.
Right.
Now we need to see a divorce decree, or oh, they had a bankruptcy 3 years ago. Now we need to see bankruptcy documentation. So we don't always know. Every client's a little bit different, but for the most part, they're